portable mic.
Okay. Honorable Speaker,
Okay.
this is the usual Thursday statement. On behalf of the House Business Committee, Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 44-2A, I want to give the following statement. One, Honorable Speaker, allow me to commend members and committees for the active participation which has seen the consideration and conclusion of a number of key items of business in the House, which the House Business Committee truly appreciates. As members will recall, yesterday the House adopted a motion resolving to hold morning sittings on the Thursdays of 16th, 23rd, and 30th of November 2023 for purposes of considering priority business ahead of the December recess. I therefore urge committees to expedite any pending business to enable its conclusion by the House within the sitting days remaining as we head closer to the recess period. Honorable Speaker, with regards to business scheduled for Tuesday next week, the House is expected to consider the following bills at various stages, some of which are listed in today's order paper. One, the first and second reading and committee of the whole House on the Supplementary Appropriations Bill 2023, and two, the second reading of the Conflict of Interest Bill 2023. Additionally, debate will also be undertaken on the following motions, some of which are listed in the order paper today, should they not be concluded in the course of this sitting. One, report of the 1970 UNESCO Convention on the means of prohibiting and preventing the illicit import, export, and transfer of ownership of cultural property. Two, report on the loans contracted by the national government between May 2022 and April 2023. Three, report of the Kenya delegation to the 4th General Assembly of the Eastern Africa Parliamentary Alliance on Food Security and Nutrition, EAPA-FSN, held in Kigali, Rwanda. Four, reports of the Auditor General on 23 non-compliant state corporations. Five, report on the proceedings of the second ordinary session of the 6th Pan-African Parliament. And six, report on the proceedings of the 2023 United Nations High-Level Political Forum on Sustainable Development. Honorable Speaker, with regards to the attendance of Cabinet Secretaries to answer questions from members, I wish to inform the House that due to priority business scheduled for next week, the Cabinet Secretaries who are scheduled to appear on Wednesday, 22nd November 2023, have been rescheduled to a later date. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, the House Business Committee shall reconvene on Tuesday, 21st November 2023 to schedule business for the rest of that week. And I wish to lay this statement on the table of the House. Thank you.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Honorable members, before we go to order number 10, we will reorganize the order paper and we'll start with order number 12 for the convenience of the House. So next one.
Order number 12, the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, second reading.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move that the Conflict of Interest Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2023, be now read a second time. Honorable Speaker, allow me first to begin by thanking the Chair of the Jaila Committee, the Honorable Murugara, and all the other 14 members of this committee who took a lot of their time, including during the time of the short recess. And I want to believe even at the time when we had the long recess, they had work ongoing, especially on public participation, in considering this bill and for the report they tabled before the House, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, as I thank the committee, Honorable Speaker, it's good to note that Article 73(2)(c) of our Constitution of 2010 provides that the guiding principles of leadership and integrity. One of the guiding principles, as stipulated in that article, is the declaration of personal interest that may conflict with public duties. Further, Honorable Speaker, Article 75(1)(a) and (b) of the Constitution requires a state officer to behave, whether in public and in his official or her official capacity, in private life, or in association with other persons, in a manner that avoids any conflict of interest between personal interests or between a public officer's personal interests and their official duties, or in any way compromising any public or official interest in favor of a personal interest. Honorable Speaker, conflict of interest indeed has been identified as one of the primary and key drivers of corruption in our country and the world over. And that is why, Honorable Speaker, this bill comes in at a critical time when we are discussing the Mambo ni Matatu phenomenon, as announced by President William RUTO, on what he has described as wakora, wafisadi, that is crooks, and the corrupt. Honorable Speaker, in dealing with the corrupt, whether you want to deal with them using the Mambo ni Matatu, or whether you want to deal with them in terms of engaging in public discourse on how we we wage the fight against corruption, we cannot do so without the requisite legal framework that enables us, even ourselves as public officers, not to have any conflict of interest as we carry out our mandate. Honorable Speaker, an analysis of all the existing policy, legal, institutional, and the legal framework indicates that various statutes and policy documents containing provisions of the management of conflict of interest that exist in our laws and various policies are in a way conflicting, and a proper framework does not exist. Similarly, Honorable Speaker, the administration of conflict of interest is anchored in a multiplicity of institutions, be it the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, harbored or carried out by various agencies. They do so independently. EACC will do their work independently, DCI will do their work independently, so will the work of the DPP or other agencies, Honorable Speaker, including our constitutional commissions. And therefore, this has led into a system where everybody is doing things independently, and therefore we end up with a very weak and uncoordinated application of whatever policies or laws that we want to implement. This bill, Honorable Speaker, seeks to cure that and proposes to have a harmonized and coordinated legal and institutional framework for management of conflict of interest in Kenya, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, members, if members look at the objects of the bill, right at the back of the bill, you will see part of what the objective of this proposed legislation seeks to do is to promote objectivity and impartiality in official decision making, ensuring that the integrity of decision makers is not compromised by private interests, enhancing public confidence in the delivery of public services, providing a framework for the regulation and management of real, apparent, or perceived, or even potential conflict of interest between public interest and private interest, and finally, to provide an institutional framework, as I mentioned, for the management of conflict of interest. Honorable Speaker, as I've mentioned, there is need to provide an institutional framework on how we manage conflict of interest, Honorable Speaker. As I said, conflict of interest is one of the key drivers of corruption and abuse of office, one of also the key drivers when it comes to matters touching on state capture, Honorable Speaker, that we know has driven corruption in this country and even in the other countries around the world, Honorable Speaker. And what other progressive democracies have done, Honorable Speaker, is to ensure that there is absolutely no conflict of interest between your personal interest or your private business and other interests while you are serving as a public officer. And Honorable Speaker, what we are doing now is just bringing our legal and institutional framework to that level where other developed democracies in the world have gotten their statutes to. A situation where it is clear to any public officer what their private interests are and what are public interests, Honorable Speaker, so that we do not have situations where private interests supersede public interest, Honorable Speaker, especially in the discharge of duties by public officers who are serving in public office. Honorable Speaker,
the Constitution into legislation, into an act of parliament.
Order, Honorable Murugara.
Thank you.
It seems we have a problem with the mics. I would propose you move to the dispatch box. It will be easier for every member to contribute from there. We have put the stand there. Then you can be able to peruse your documents better.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. This is not loud enough. Madam Speaker. Yes. Is it working?
use this, Murugara.
Sorry about these technical issues. I think something has gone awfully wrong. But as I said, Madam Speaker, allow me to move to second this bill and call upon the members of the House to get a copy of the report by the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee as regards its deliberations on the bill and the observations made. It's a report that is going to help all of us while we are debating and eventually as we vote on the bill. It is important to point out that Chapter 6 of the Constitution deals with ethics and other matters that govern both state officers and public officers. It is important also to note that conflict of interest in every transaction is one of the most important declarations that have to be made before any transaction can take place in what we call arm's length situations. This is where all the parties are actually equal to the transaction and not one